Hey, this is Daniel. Um, I had a rough day yesterday. Um, I spent the better part of the day trying to put together videos, and I just kept hitting a wall. I just couldn't. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't get together a cohesive message that I was comfortable putting out there. And I mean, honestly, I'm not comfortable putting any of this out there, but it just none of it made sense. I just couldn't. My brain was scattered. So, about 8, 9 o'clock last night, I just gave up, and I felt dejected, and because as much as I've been trying to escape the world, I am constantly looking for its validation. The first video I made had a tremendous response. I got tons of comments of support, and the next video, which I felt was equally as important of a message, that we're missing something as Christians today in our message to the world. It did get some likes, on Facebook, but just nowhere near the response. No comments, no encouragement, and I don't blame any of you for that, because I understand the first one was a story of, victory and redemption, but that was just the beginning. That's just what started the path, because I've had victories and I've had failure. Right now, I feel like I'm in the failure part, but I do know that God is working in my life. How do I know that? Because I can see the effects internally, and people that are closest around me see some of the effects. Those are a little bit further out may see it as negative, because all they're doing is looking at me from the aspect of a worldly perspective, that I'm a failure, that I'm not providing for my family, that I am lazy because I don't want to work, that this is just an easier thing, is just to not do anything. And maybe they're right, but I can tell you one thing they're not right about: this is not an easier way. If I really could go and work in the world and not just feel my soul just being wrung because I've tried, and little things, I would. Because being trapped between two worlds, being trapped between trying to live full-time for God but yet living in the world full-time because I'm affected by people out there just as they're affected by my decisions, is probably the toughest place to be. I woke up this morning and I had a dream. In this dream, I was driving, I don't know, some old car, probably a junker, bucket. And I remember just kind of pulling up into this neighborhood in these huge houses, and I parked around the corner because there was this party at this huge house. And I remember the car, every time I would shift from one gear to another, it was just like grinding gears. It just was a humiliating car, right? And I get out of the car and I'm excited to go to this party, and I'm walking up the path that leads up to the steps to this big house, and all these people are all dressed nice going in there, and as I'm approaching the steps, I realize that I don't have any money. I've got a wallet, but it's worthless because there's no cash in there. My credit cards and debit cards don't have any money on them. And I knew there was an admission. And I knew I couldn't even afford a drink. So I end up kind of walking up the path and then just turning off to the side, to the other side of the property, but because everybody else is kind of walking up behind me and going, and I don't want to go back in front of them. So at the end of the property, there's these hedges that come all the way down and end at the street. There's a little space between another car and these hedges, and I'm just going to squeeze through there and kind of go back around to my car. And as I'm squeezing through the hedges, they are catching me, like these little branches are sticking out and they're catching all my clothes. And every time I'd get one free, another one would grab me. And it's just like I couldn't get free of these snagging branches. And the more they'd snag me, the more desperate I would be to get out, almost kind of like quicksand, right? And the more desperate I'd get, the more commotion I'd cause, and the more people start looking out from this big house and this big party and looking at me, like, what is this guy doing? Why is he trying to escape? And I could feel him laughing at me. I just felt humiliated. I just had to get away, but I couldn't. And then I woke up, and and I just dismissed it initially as just a dream. But I started to realize that, that party is like the world, right? It's the domain of the flesh. It's, where the prestige and your money and everything that people strive for is to fit in and get into that house. And I realized I wasn't going to be welcome there, and I didn't want to go up and be humiliated in front of everybody that I just didn't even have $10 for admission. And I knew nobody would give me the money to get in, because you're expected to provide your own admission. And, though I tried to escape quietly out of the side, of this party, and just escape back out, get into my bucket and drive back to wherever I had come from, that the commotion I caused in trying to escape quietly caused more and more attention. And that's where I'm at today, is that I don't have the admission, which is like the desire to get into that party anymore. And I just don't fit in the world. If I think about it, I never really did. I mean, I was always a horrible employee. I was bad with money. I didn't manage money well at all. I've never had a budget in my life. I just, if it was there, I would pay what bills were due today and then spend the rest. I never worry about tomorrow's bills, because I just make more money. And that worked for some time. And, I had some bad times. I, lost a couple houses, lost several cars. I just lost my truck about a month and a half ago. It got repoed because I could no longer pay the bills. My wife's car is probably, I don't know, could get repoed any day. I mean, if I'm to be honest. I think we got a little bit of time, I don't know. And this all wreckage that I had caused by just being irresponsible, right? But now, where I'm at today is that I just can't just work for money anymore. And unfortunately, this decision is really hurting some people that I care about. And I feel horrible about it. But I can't, and I don't know how to explain it. But, the thing is I had this gal who used to work for me a while ago reach out to me and just check in, and she was in a tight spot and asked to borrow $60. Because she needed some groceries, and she's got kids, including a real young one. And I had to tell her, I said, I can't, I don't have any money, because honestly, if I did, I would have gave her some money. But I didn't. And, I was her former boss, and I had to explain to her, like, I not only have money, I just haven't had income in, over 3 months, 4 months really, that my truck got repoed. But I trust in God that there's going to be a path revealed in front of me that is, that'll lead to the next stage of my life. But for the last 3 months, I've been waiting on it, and it just hasn't come. And I know it's because I've been, waiting for God to deliver me, but I haven't been opening up in love to other people. I've just kind of withdrawn into myself. And I haven't been full of self-pity, to be honest. I don't feel bad for myself. But I do feel bad for the people around me. My mother-in-law is one of them. We live, me, my wife, my kids, 2 dogs, 3 cats, and a turtle live at her house. And she's 70 years old and working at Walmart and doing whatever she can, and I just can't do it. And I know people judge me about that, and maybe they're right. Maybe they should, because I should be doing something, but I just feel paralyzed. And but you know, I expect God to change things, but I don't even open up to people that love me about what is really going on. And how else is God gonna change my circumstances than through love? Other people who love me. And so this gal who had asked for $60 after I explained to her my situation said, "I'm so sorry to hear that, but you know, you're doing what God wants you to do, and hey, if you need some help, I get paid next week, and I can send you some money." And I was moved by that, and I said, "I'll be fine," you know, because asking for help is not an easy thing to do, especially for somebody that needs help. I mean, she needed money for groceries, and here she is willing to help me, and I'm a fully capable man of providing. The only thing that's stopping me is this feeling inside like this is not what God wants me to do. And this is not an easier, softer way. This is the toughest thing I've ever been through in my life. But I do know that God does not want me to work for the world anymore. He wants me to work with Him. He doesn't want me to sit here and do nothing, but He wants me to seek Him and do His will. And what is His will? It's to get out there and love people and change the world one life at a time. It just got me thinking that there's a lot of people around me who kind of know my situation, and I feel like they love me, but they're not offering to help. And here's a gal that worked for me and didn't really have a everyday personal relationship, because she didn't report directly to me. She reported to somebody else, and she's willing to help. And so it just got me thinking, so why is it that those that always have the least are always willing to give the most? Like my mother-in-law. I mean, really, out of my family, my mother-in-law has the least. But she gives in spite of, I mean, she should hate me for what I'm doing, for not contributing, that the fact that she has to work, and that I just get paralyzed, right? And people think I'm crazy, but really, maybe I am. But if I'm crazy, wouldn't that be all the more reason to help? So, you know, this is the most difficult thing I talk to anybody about, let alone put it out there on the internet. Because honestly, for me, to talk about the past is easy, because that's not who I am anymore, right? The guy that was just living just a sinful, selfish life out there. It's not me. And though I'm still selfish, I'm becoming somebody new. And so I can look back and say that person's not me. But to talk about who I am today and all my flaws and imperfections today, oh, that's difficult. Because I can no longer point and say, oh, well, that's not me. No, here's me and the mess that I am. So I really don't have an agenda with this video. I just woke up with that dream and knew that I had to share it with you, and share with you where I'm at today, in hopes that it will inspire some of you out there, in hopes that some of you will relate to where I'm at and want to help me. And I don't mean monetarily, because honestly, I don't even want I don't want money from anybody. If you guys want to help somebody monetarily, help my mother-in-law, right? Send her money. But me, I don't need money. You know, I haven't worked in 4 months. My wife doesn't have a job. She gets a little money from Mary Kay. I get a little job from, or I get a little money from a different deal that I did, you know, a couple $100s a month. We get by. I mean, we eat, we have clothes, kids are going to school, and And yeah, they're affected because they don't get to do all the fun things that they're used to doing. They don't get all the stuff that they're used to getting. Our house is not full of food where you can just go and eat anytime you want, but we get everything that we need. But it's at a cost to people that didn't sign up for this. So if you want to help anybody, help them. So, but what I'm looking for help in is to create a movement to where people who are struggling like me can get the help and the refuge that they need. And I've got some ideas on something I want to create, but it will require a lot of help and a lot of resources. And I can't do it on my own. I've been trying to live life on my own my whole life, you know, and I can't do it alone anymore. I need your help. So I'm gonna leave this video at that, and trust God is gonna do whatever He's gonna do. So I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. God bless.